Revelation chapter 6 verse 2. And I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. A crown means rulership, man. When somebody gets deemed or blessed king, and they go and sit on their throne, what's one thing they're given? It's a crown, signifying their rulership. So it says, and I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. And he went forth conquering and to conquer. Because when the person this world calls Jesus Christ comes back, he's coming back to take down the current rulership, which who is ruling? The so-called white man is. He's the one passing all the laws and the statutes. He's the one whose face you see on the currency. So he's coming back to take that rulership. And when you take rulership from somebody, that means you have to take that person down. So when the person this world calls Jesus Christ comes back, he's coming back to take down and to slaughter and to enslave the so-called white men and the rest of the nation. When he's coming back to kill the wicked ass Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who want to be joined to the so-called white men. Because the so-called white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. What did the Bible say the devil came to do? He came to steal, he came to kill, and he came to destroy. When this so-called white man landed over here in America, what did he do? He stole the land from the Native Americans. He killed over 90% of the population. And he destroyed the heritage of the Negroes and the Native Americans. Because prior to being a Native American, prior to being an African, prior to being a Mexican or a Puerto Rican or a Latino, you were the original 12 tribes of Israel. And we spoke Hebrew, but we had our language beaten out of us. Why do you think the slaves saying Kumbaya? That's Hebrew. That means come by here, Lord. Yah is a short way to say the Lord's name. Why did they say swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home? I looked over Jordan. Who was led by Jordan? The Israelites. So we knew we were Israelites. But our heritage was destroyed and taken from us. We were taught that we were African because we came from Africa. Which the only reason the so-called Negroes were in Africa is because they fled Roman persecution in 70 AD. And they fled into Africa, where they always fled. Every time when Christ was born, what did the angel tell Joseph to do? To flee into Egypt, which is Africa. So we always fled into Africa for succor. Now, a couple thousand years down the line, we were taken into captivity by the so-called Africans and the Arabs. And they was trading us back and forth in captivity. Then they sold us to the so-called white man. Matter of fact, and that's in the scripture. That's in the book of Joel. This is Joel chapter 3. Let's see. Starting at verse 4. It says, yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon? Those are Africans. Tyre and Zidon are Africans. What you would call Africans today. And all the coast of Palestine. As we know, the Palestinians are so-called Arabs, the sons of Ishmael, Ishmaelites. And it says, what have thou to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, in Palestine? Because of the fact that they were trading us back and forth in slavery. You can see it in the movie Gladiator. What did the Arabs do? They sold all the slaves, the so-called Spaniard slave, Maximus, and they sold the so-called African slave, and they sold them to the Greeks. So why? So they could be gladiators and participate in the war game. It says, O Tyre and Zidon and all the coast of Palestine, will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. So the Lord is going to pay you back for what you did to us. It says, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah, which are the so-called Negroes, but the kingdom of Judah, which was living in Jerusalem during the time of Yahushua, or the time who you call Christ, which consisted of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which are the Negroes, the Haitians, and the Jamaicans. Because to actually be a Jew, you have to be from the tribe of Judah. That's where the word Jew comes from, Judah. It says, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians. Who are the Grecians? Who are the Greeks? That's the so-called white man. So it says the Africans and the Arabs had sold the children of Judah, which are you Negroes, to the Greeks, to the so-called white man. That's why today, when you get at white people for the slavery and for the slave trade, they say, well, your people sold your own people into slavery. No, the Africans are not our people. That's the children of Ham. We are the children of Israel, the children of Shem. We're Shemites, Shemitic. They're Hamitic. That's why they sold us into slavery. Why would they sell their own people into slavery? Especially to those of another nation. So it says, behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. So the Lord said he's going to rise the nation of Israel out of the places where we were sold. Because through the transatlantic slave trade, we were sold all throughout the world. We came from, the Negroes came from the northern western parts of Africa and were brought to Europe and brought over there to Central America and the islands of Hispaniola. Then the Latinos are the indigenous population. The Latinos and the natives, the Native Americans, they were brought over there to Europe. That's why if you ever watch the Borgias, that family, the Borgias, they had Latin and indigenous slaves over there in Europe. So the Lord said he's going to rise the nation of Israel up out of the places that we were driven. Because one of the prophecies was that we were going to be scattered to the four winds of the earth. We were going to be scattered all around the world. Another prophecy was that we were going to lose our heritage. That's found in the book of Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from the heritage that I gave you. So when you discontinue from your heritage, that means you break off from what you used to, what you were brought up in. Our heritage was the nation of Israel. But since we discontinue from our heritage, and we were taught by our slave owners, our slave masters, that we were African Americans. First of all, you can't be an African if you don't come from the line of Africanus. Leo Scipio's Africanus, which the land of Africa was named after. Second of all, you can't be an American if you don't come from the family of Amerigo's Vespucci, who America was named after. Third, you cannot be from two different nations. The nation depends solely on the seed of your father. You cannot be from two different nations. You can't be African and American. If you ask any African today what's their nationality, they're not going to say I'm an African American. They're going to say I'm an African. I'm an Ethiopian. Not I'm Ethiopian American. When you ask a Chinese person that was born over here in America, they don't say I'm Chinese American. They say I'm Chinese. The only people saying that silly shit are you dumbass niggas out here who don't know your heritage. Because your heritage was lost. It was beat out of you. And then you were taught a lie. All throughout school, you was raised up and indoctrinated with lies. They teach you lies all throughout history. They don't tell you what really happened to the Native Americans. They don't tell you that the Pilgrims, or who you would like to call the Pilgrims, infiltrated the Native Americans, broke every treaty that they had with them, and gave them smallpox, and then killed the population off. They don't tell you that the cavalry was set up to slaughter actually to try to obliterate the whole Native American nation, as a whole. They don't tell you that they infiltrated the Native Americans to be enemies in war with the Negroes over here. Because the Negroes and the Native Americans actually got along. the Native Americans actually had some Negroes set up as heads in their tribe, because the Native Americans knew the Negroes, which are the tribe of Judah, is the head tribe in the nation of Israel. That's why the person you call Christ came out of the tribe of Judah, because that's the head tribe. That's why King David was from the tribe of Judah. Now back to Jeremiah, says, and thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. Isn't this a land that was not known to the Israelites? They knew of this land, but this land was never inhabited. They knew of this land through King Solomon, because King Solomon had a mighty navy, which consisted of the Zidonians, if I'm not mistaken, which are the Africans, because they were experts in building ships and experts at sea. And what he used to do is he used to send them over here to, that's why this land used to be called the land of Canaan, which Canaan means a flat land or a valley. That's why he used to send them over here, and he used to have them gather resources and apes and peacocks and things of that nature, and bring them back over there to him. And if you read in the scriptures, I believe it's in the book of Kings, it tells you that each trip took 3 years. It took 1.5 years to get there and 1.5 years to get back. Now in the book of Ezra, it tells you how the northern kingdom, which consists of the Native Americans and the Latinos, got over here to America. Matter of fact, let me find that. It says, this is 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanazar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so they came into another land. Because after King Solomon was head over all of Israel, the land split into 2 different kingdoms. The northern kingdom, which was headed by Ephraim, which consisted of the Latinos and the Native Americans, they made an agreement with the Assyrians to go to war with the southern kingdom, which consisted of Judah. So it says, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen. This is talking about the northern kingdom. It says the northern kingdom took the counsel among themselves that they would escape and flee from the captivity of the heathen, the Assyrians, and go into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Because this country, it was known at all times, but it was never inhabited by people. They try to tell you that the Native Americans got here through the Bering Strait. That's all false. For one, you can't even travel that nowadays because the weather is too harsh and rigid. So you can't even make that travel nowadays, let alone by foot in the ancient days. It says, verse 42, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land, because the northern kingdom was heavy into idolatry. The northern kingdom was heavy into worshiping idols. That's why you Latinos are into this Roman Catholicism nowadays, worshiping the Mother Mary, which just goes back to the Queen of Heaven, which goes back to Semiramis, ancient Babylonian worship. It says, and they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river. For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and had held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of 1.5 years. Now when King Solomon used to send the ships over here to gather resources, to gather gold, to mine, gather precious stones, and gather animals that we didn't have over there in Israel, and bring them back, it took 3 years to make that trip. 1.5 years to get here, and 1.5 years to make it back, because they sailed around the Horn of Africa. And that's the same way Christopher Columbus knew to come over. Because if you ever watch that movie, I forget what it's called, but Christopher Columbus said he knew to get over here through the book of Ezra. And on top of that, he knew that the 10 tribes were over here. That's why when he came here, he brought Hebrew translators. Now, if he thought he was going to India Why would he have Hebrew translators on the ship? 7 to be exact. If he thought he was going to India. Because he knew he was coming to the Americans. He knew he was coming over here, and he knew that the Hebrews dwelt over here. Namely, the nation of Israel. So let me hop back into